All right, guys, back on Southeastern 16 with Max Barr. We're doing these reaction videos every day these days. It feels like Max, but non-conference SEC basketball. We told you guys we were going to do as many of these as we could. Big Saturday, as we know, in the SEC. We're going to cover the first three games that have been played. We're not going to cover Auburn Houston tonight. The reason why is we have to give way to football to do their reaction show tonight at 9:30 Central. So little capped here, and so we decided to do this early. So we'll probably talk about Auburn Houston tomorrow with this caveat. If Auburn wins, we'll do a reaction video tomorrow morning for Auburn Houston. If they don't, we'll talk about it on Monday. How about that, Max? That's a deal we can make with the people.
I agree.
So
I agree.
yeah, I think that's the best play here. So, anyways, before we jump in, let's quickly tell you about BetOnline, the world's most trusted betting platform, which Max and I were just talking about some bets off air. We may throw some of that into this in a second, but your number one source for online betting, the earliest odds to in-game live betting. BetOnline provides you with all the action and ability to watch the games as they happen. Largest selection of odds you'll find on everything from football, NBA, college basketball, NHL, UFC, MMA. They got it all. Head to BetOnline today. Get on the action. America's most trusted site for online wagering. BetOnline. The game starts here. All right, folks. Here we go. Here it is, Max. We start off, and I'm just going to assume this is from an Arkansas fan, right? We did it to us. The first victim of the Southeastern 16 kiss of death this season, Max Barr, the Arkansas Razorbacks.
Yeah, they were hanging in there. I thought maybe they would be able to, put together a little bit of a run there, get a few stops, and get out in front of that nasty zone. But it never came together. Was they had 5 of 20 from three, 5 of 20 from three against 40 minutes of zone. Blake is not the ideal situation there.
No, I wish you guys could be on our text threads that we have during games, because I texted these guys, I want to say literally the first possession. I said, uh-oh. I said, Baylor's in a zone defense. I said, this is going to be ugly. And it was. I mean, let's call it what it is. It was ugly because, like you said, Arkansas was 5 of 20 from three. Keep in mind, one of those was late when they're just trying to make up points. Boogie Flan hit one towards the end of the game. But what, Max? Last game, what was it, 4-19? Is that right?
Yep, 4-19, now 5 of 20.
Yeah, so come out and just cannot make a three. And I think any team who plays Arkansas, why would you not play a zone right now until they can figure out?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know the shooting's going to change, because I just don't. I mean, we said that going into the season. That was probably one of the things that if you were going to be lower on Arkansas, which everybody knows, I was buying in, although I did want to, I'm like, look, this is a work in progress, but this is a concern with the shooting. There's no question, because they got to figure it out. Here's what I will say, okay? We always try to be positive here, and we try to find the positives in these kind of games.
Yes.
I think a lot of Arkansas's problems are fixable. I don't know if the shooting's fixable, but I think a lot of their problems are fixable in terms of like rotations on defense and rotations, period. The Jonas Adu thing, injury has clearly played a role. John L. Davis, is that playing a role too? Because like we said, we expected him to be kind of the offensive spark plug for this team. Those things can be fixed as injuries heal, as you work on rotations throughout the season, as you play more games together. But that's on Cal to fix it, right? Like, he's got to be the one that fixes those things. And that's the question. Is he going to be able to fix them? And again, I don't know the shooting's going to be fixed this year, because I just don't see a team that's going to make a lot of outside shots and a lot of jump shots, period. If teams are just playing zone, they're going to have to figure it out and get way more active, I think, to exploit that. So,
well, John L's clearly impacted. I mean, taking that fall there late second half, holding his wrist for a while. I think he was 1 of 4 from three first game, 0 of 5. So that makes 1 of 9 from three on the seat, in 2 games. That's not John L. Davis. He's a much better shooter than that. And then, like you said, with Adu, you're forcing Big Z to play a lot more. You're forcing Brazil to play the 5. There were multiple possessions there where Omier just kind of bullied him down low. I mean, Brazil is not, he's not going to be put in his position to succeed there, guarding Omier as a defensive 5. So, like you said, yeah, I think a lot of the things that can get fixed is just getting the guys healthy and figuring out, what 7, 8, maybe 9-man rotation is going to fit this team the best.
Yeah. I think for me, Arkansas right now after 2 games, and again, we try not to overreact, but I think they're going to need to be one of the highest tempo teams in the country. Anytime they get a defensive rebound, they've got to go. I don't think they can just set up in transition, set up in the half court, and all that. Let's jump into this. We're going to do a quick detour because Max and I were also discussing this before we started. From Justin here, pull this up, Max, because who thought Thiero was pronounced Thero, right? I mean, what's the deal?
Threw me for a leap. Well, I was hearing it the first game. The broadcasters were saying Thero the first game, and I'm like what? And since I'm coming from play-by-play, so I know that these guys really pay attention to pronunciations and put a lot of time to make sure they're all right. So I'm like, have we been saying it wrong the whole time? And then they were saying it again tonight. I still in my head after a do, I just am thinking Thiero, and that's gonna take me multiple games to get Thero down. But I said he's the best player on the team a few weeks ago, and that take is looking pretty strong.
24 points, 10 of 15 from the floor, had 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 blocks, a steal, only 2 turnovers. He was the best player on the floor for Arkansas, period. And that's the thing too, like we said, depending on how people defend Arkansas this year, I mean, he and Boogie Fland are going to have to make everything happen in terms of just finding ways to create things. And again, keep in mind, we do think, I would be shocked if Davis he's just not played great to this point. But again, you wonder, is there an injury, kind of at play there with the wrist, those kind of things. You can ask those questions right now. But they need him to score more, right? I mean, it's pretty clear for this team to kind of hit that next level offensively. And especially again in games like this, right? Like these are the kind of games that you're looking at there, because we had 15 the other night against Lipscomb, so it's not nothing. But in these kind of games, that's where you kind of need him to be a big force. And so I think Adu playing more minutes will help for Arkansas. But look, I also want to look at this and be like, yes, we knew this team had some limitations coming in terms of the shooting. We've already mentioned that. I said I just think that they're not going to be playing their best basketball in November. I think they're going to be playing it probably in February sometime. And it's a 5-point loss to Baylor, who is coming off of just an embarrassing loss to the Zags. So a lot of teachable moments for John Calipari coming out of this game. Like we said, the question is, are they going to be able to fix those problems? Because I do think quite a few of them are fixable. Just you have to adapt, and you have to know that opponents now see what you can and can't do 2 games in, and we'll see. So,
yeah, they got 4 tune-up games. They should get four nice wins in a row before Illinois, and hopefully we'll have some healthier rotations by late November here.
Yeah. All right. Well, shout out to Donovan, who comes in asking if we're trolling about Arkansas. Donovan, your team is going to tip off in about 10 minutes. I would think after the 24 hours your team had on Twitter yesterday, you wouldn't be coming in throwing shade at us. But no, in all seriousness, we certainly talked about the Auburn plane thing yesterday. And we'll talk about, Donovan, how about this? When we get done with these other couple games we're going to talk about, we'll finish up with Auburn, like we said, kind of preview the matchup. We'll still be on when this game starts, but we will figure it out. So, he was talking to you. Sorry, you were talking to Big Baller Brett. Well, any way you slice it, Donovan, we can always pick on you. We can always troll you, so it doesn't really matter. So, all right, we'll get to your serious question. Who's the X factor for Auburn tonight? Quickly, Max, your answer.
The X factor is, can Chaney Johnson handle JoJo Tugler's physicality down low? That guy is an absolute monster, and I'm a little bit worried about it. I'd say Chaney, and I think you'll like that answer.
All right. Let's go to Kentucky next. We're going to go from most recent we'll get to Tennessee in a second. The Kentucky Wildcats, Max, they put up 100 against the Bucknell Bisons. Here's my question. My first question is this, Max. Which of you you or Chris Lee is going to rank Kentucky at number 1 in the power rankings on Monday?
We both know the answer to that question.
It's going to be Chris,
But,
isn't it?
Yeah. But I mean, you gotta admit, they look really good. They look really, really good. What were your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, I mean, Kentucky, they're an offensive juggernaut through 2 games. Let's not kid ourselves. They look fantastic on the offensive end. And I think you can draw some parallels here because you think about how much easier, if you want to look at some of these, think about how much easier that game is for Arkansas if they could just make a 3, right? If you just make a couple threes. If you're just a team that can shoot an average percentage and you just just think about how much easier the game is, right? Well, you look at Kentucky. I mean, this is a team that, like we said, Max, I think our prediction coming into the season was they have a great chance in back-to-back years to lead the nation in three-point percentage. And you look at the way that they've shot the ball so far. They go 13 to 36 in this game. What did they go against Wright State? We brought that up. They went, 11 to 24 in that game against Wright State. So you shoot 46% in the first game. You shoot about 36% in the second game. And I mean, it's so much easier when you can do that, right? Like the game becomes so much more simple when you just have guys who can step out and make shots. Kobe Brea, you tweeted it out, Max. When Kobe Brea shoots, you don't ever think he's going to miss.
No.
And there's good reason for that. I mean, he goes 6 of 8 in this game, right? He's off to a great start this year. What's he shooting? 10 of 12, is that right? 4-4 in game 1. Yeah, 10 of 12. So if you can just have a team that can just make some shots, give you some easy boosts of momentum, come down off the fast break, transition, you're running sets, those kind of things, it makes the game so much more simple, and I think that's what Kentucky is doing so far. Mark Pope, like an absolute magician when it comes to offense right now, and what he's doing and pushing all the right buttons for this Kentucky team. And so, yeah, we can have our fun with Chris and all that, but they have been fantastic so far.
Yeah, 30 assists game 1, 23 assists tonight. The thing with Brea, though, it's like a lot of great shooters can light it up and have a night like 6 of 8, and have kind of a microwave night. But the ball's, it's rattling in, then it's a swish, then it's, swirls around. Brea, every time, it doesn't even come close to the rim. He just rips, right, swish. It's like a calculated machine every time. Bang, splash. I was like, geez. Reminded me of Buddy Hield. It's getting Buddy Hield vibes.
Your guy, Buddy Hield.
Yeah.
By the way, guys, in the comments, we will get to some of your comments. We're just going to quickly give you our thoughts on some of these games to start things off. And then, as always, we will interact, give our thoughts on what you guys are talking about. And remember, you can leave a super chat if you want to make sure we get to your comment. There's a lot of people in here. 600. How about this, Max? 600 plus people in here on a football Saturday night. And people don't think we respect SEC basketball around here. 600 plus on a Saturday night watching us here break down these big games. We haven't even got to arguably the biggest game of the day yet in Auburn and Houston. So, again, if you're just catching on now, we are going to talk about that game tomorrow probably if Auburn wins. If not, we'll talk about it on Monday. That's our plan. But again, leave your super chat. All that helps donate to the channel, all that good stuff. All right, back to Kentucky.
The Cats.
Because the Cats, yes, they were very impressive, and I think and I see Kentucky fans talking, and we can't deny this. There is a big difference in terms of watching what Kentucky is doing right now, a very cerebral kind of approach where they are coming down, they are slicing and dicing you, they are running these very intricate sets at times, and for Kentucky fans, they're not used to that, right? And that's been the knock on Cal, is you just did not get a lot of that, and we talked about it, Max. If you're looking at some of those things with Arkansas this year, and you want to take the wait-and-see approach, it is, are they going to be able to run stuff? And we saw that tonight. I mean, it's kind of the same thing. Sure, maybe they weren't expecting zone, but how much offense are they running, and how much are they getting sort of active movement and those kind of things, flashing to the high post, all these different things. But when you watch Mark Pope's team right now at Kentucky through 2 games, and we knew this from what he was, the way he played at BYU, they are getting shots that they want. Now, we'll see what happens on Tuesday when they play Duke, right? It's a step up in competition. But they are getting the shots they want, and they're making teams pay. But the reason they're getting shots they want is because they're running stuff. Like, they are very... Yeah. I mean, the ball movement, there was one of those, I don't remember the exact setting, but there was one play earlier where they're just... I mean, the ball moves like 6 times, and they get the wide open look they're looking for. It was going viral maybe on Twitter. I saw it on there. But that's the difference right now. And when you're like this and you're active the way Kentucky is on offense right now, and you got guys that can shoot the ball, good luck trying to defend them.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think it's the clip you were talking about, but I remember watching one possession where Kriisa made the extra pass. And I feel like people know what I'm talking about. He had the shot. Guy comes, running out, close out, and he just boop right to the right, wide open. It was a beautiful extra pass. The thing I want to mention, though, before I forget, Amari Williams. Oh, my goodness. I know it's not the best competition so far, but Bucknell had a skilled big man. And pre-game, they were hyping him up a lot. He just had a 30 bomb the game before. 13 points, 14 rebounds, only 1 foul. He does not foul. He continues to not foul. Never has past few years. I'm very impressed with him. And he'll get the rebound and he'll start the break. He'll just get it and start going. And that's valuable.
I think too, we always try to figure out depth, and it's not the easy. I mean, I think we'll know, like, what is that 1 through whatever rotation going to be in a game like when you play on Tuesday against Duke, right? I mean, because a lot of guys have played through 2 games because these games have been, non-factors. But, I mean, you've just been able to play a lot of guys. But I'm curious to see, what the minutes distribution looks like. We always talk about that going into the season. But now we're a couple games in. You get a big, high-profile game coming up after this. Who are the guys that are kind of in that position? Because, I mean, you look at the numbers now, right? It's just the minutes are so spread out. You can look at, the starting lineup and those things. But still, I mean, I think that there is a clear difference in terms of how Kentucky approaches offense this year through 2 games. And I think that's what's going to make Kentucky fans very invested in this team, which, they would be anyways. But I think you're seeing that difference, and that's exactly what they wanted to see in terms of changing from Cal to a new era. They wanted to see more of the stuff we've seen a couple games in. But like we said, the real test starts to come on Tuesday when you play Duke, and then you start playing those bigger games in the non-con. Still got the Zags on there. Ohio State, games like that. So, but so far, A+ for Mark Pope and the Cats to this point. So,
but just keep in mind also, they look fantastic so far. I'm very impressed. 36 3 attempts, just by the nature of variance. There are going to be games where that is 4 of 30. Where that's 5 of 28. That's just, it's mathematically it's going to happen. And so don't freak out when it does. That's all. Putting that in the back of the mind.
Well, again, I wish Chris was on here because we know I like to sort of switch, play around sometimes, Max, in terms of which teams I buy into, right? Yep. I was joking with Chris earlier. I said I only like defensive teams, which we know that's not the case. Give me the teams that are putting up points because you got to score in this league. Yes. And so, I think that Kentucky will not have many problems scoring this year. So many options on this team so far, and we'll see what you guys are talking about with the Cats here shortly. But let's talk about Tennessee, and again, then we'll kind of do the other half of this show, kind of reacting to what you guys are saying, and give you some thoughts on some other stuff. But, all right, Tennessee, man, this was a game where we said going in, we were a little nervous for the Vols because we didn't know what to expect offensively, Max. And I think that was the big thing is we were trying to figure out, okay, this was kind of the step up, right? You go from Gardner-Webb, you play this game on the road against Louisville, Pat Kelsey's there, rejuvenated fan base. They had just beaten Morehead State, unmercifully in that first game. But then Tennessee came out and did exactly what I think we said. If they were going to win this game, the reason was going to be the half-court defense and their ability just to go out and defend you better than anybody else could. And that's exactly what happened here with Tennessee. Louisville did not get a lot of great looks. They shot 28.6% from 2. They shot 25.6% from 3. And I think the distribution on that is the most important thing. They shot 39 threes, only 21 twos. And yes, I think you're going to have Pat Kelsey's teams, when we know, Max, they're going to take threes. Like, there's no question
Yeah.
about that. But Tennessee just was not allowing them these looks, right? They were just, stonewalling them. They were not going to give them easy looks, either on the perimeter or trying to get inside. And yes, we'll talk about kind of the offensive stuff for Tennessee. They turned it over 20 times. I know Zakai Ziegler had 11 of them. Still, my first team All-SECer, Zakai Ziegler, Max Barr. But nonetheless, I mean, this was exactly what you wanted to see from Tennessee. If you had your questions about the offense, you may still have some coming out of this game, but you also realize that if they are as good defensively as they looked in this game, and they have the two best defensive guards in the country, in my opinion, in terms of the duo of Ziegler and Mashack, they're going to beat a lot of people, period.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Well, one of the reasons why we were so skeptical about this game, we knew Kelsey had, was going to have the place energized and excited, new era. But the betting line came out -1, -1.5 Tennessee. And then by game time, it was like -3. Like Louisville was like -170 on the money line. I'm like, holy smokes, this is a lot of line movement here. But we did say on the preview, we said, whoever can implement their style and get comfortable first is probably going to win this game. Louisville comes out, misses, I don't know how many they missed. They started out on a drought, and then just couldn't catch up from there. I'm gonna make a comparison. I might be a little bit off, but I feel like it's right. I feel like, how Patrick Surtain on the Broncos, he allows the rest of the defense to be so much better because he can do his one job so good. I feel like that's Mashack. Mashack can switch on to anybody, lock down anybody, guard you on the perimeter, guard you down low, and he allows everybody else. It makes their defense so much better. I don't know if I'm off on that, but that's just kind of that's what I'm getting from Mashack. I wanted to give Mashack his credit.
Should we overreact to Ziegler's 11 turnovers?
Watching the game, it didn't feel like that.
Here's what I said.
It didn't feel like that.
Here's what I said to you guys. I think there's a couple of those I think there's more than a couple. Some of those were either he's trying to get it to someone, they just can't get a hand on it. Like they get their hands on it, but they can't get the ball. So I think there was maybe one or two. I don't remember exactly, but I can remember seeing one of them for sure, where you're trying to lob it up, right, for kind of an easy, layup or dunk or something, and it just went awry. Those kind of things. But I also feel like it's look, I don't think he's not gonna have 11 turnovers every game, right? But he is going to be the guy on this team, and quite frankly, I think he may be the only guy on this team that is going to be able to create at the kind of level where he is going to have the ball in his hands so much. And again, I'm not saying this is going to happen a lot, but you're going to have some games like this where maybe he has 7 turnovers or something like that. And sure, in some of those games, you may look back and say, well, those are the ones that can't have that many, right? But still, they won by 22. He had 11 turnovers, and keep in mind, too, 8 of those came in the first half, which is just, I don't know how that happened, but it did. He's still
Look at
the
this
catalyst.
comment.
What is it?
Dalen must have just came in.
Mashack.
Mr. Phillips, I just gave him his flowers and then some. You just missed it by about 15 seconds.
Well, I know what we've talked about so far with Tennessee is that Ziegler and Mashack are the best defensive guard duo in the country. That's what I would give as my vote for the Vols. I'll tell you something else. 2 other things stood out for me in this game. Lanier, we said Chaz Lanier's got to be
smooth.
Yeah, he was a little more confident, much more smooth. That's a great way to put it, Max. Knocking down shots. He made a couple, kind of plays on his own there. Little 1 dribble, 2 dribble pull up, smooth jumper, just as we knew, Tennessee was going to get with him. So I think that's important. 10 of 19 from 3 for Tennessee. Like that, you'll take that any day of the week if you're Rick Barnes in terms of they're not going to shoot at 53% every game, but making shots like that from the outside, you'll take it. Felix Akpara. I told you, I think I was texting it to you. I think he has progressed quicker than I thought. And again, that's not a knock on him, but the defensive element, like when you're playing for Rick Barnes, like the concepts you are going to have to you're going to have to be strong in terms of you're playing the center role for
Yep.
Tennessee, right? You think about the guys who've come through there, Adu, Epons, keep going, right? Like those kind of guys who have been, when the ball gets beyond the perimeter, you've got to make plays. And so I think just his physicality, some of those things, like the length is there, of course, at 6'11", but I was impressed with him too in this game. I think, that was kind of a big standout thing here. So I really liked what I saw from Tennessee. I don't think Louisville's as bad as, look, they're not as bad as they were last year. We know that. Maybe they're not the, 48-point win team that beat Morehead State. You're not going to get that many games this year. But I think Tennessee just completely played their game and dominated this game and made it exactly what they wanted it to be.
Yeah, and hey, Cade Phillips is here to stay. He is not going anywhere.
Good guy. Cade Phillips.
Yep. He's on the Boy Ball watch list now. We liked what we saw. Hey, Rick Barnes told everybody at media day. He said Phillips and Akpara, it was them two in the offseason going at it the whole time. I think Akpara made Phillips a lot better, and it paying off already without Dubar. 21 minutes, perfect 3 of 3, 4 offensive rebounds. Very valuable.
Who we got here, Max? We got Ziegler and Meshack. I'm excited for this game. When's Tennessee and Kentucky play? Against Butler and Oweh.
Ooh.
Let's line it up right now. No, hey, I'm with you, Kentucky fans. You got an argument there with those guys too. There's no question.
Yeah.
I went Ziegler because he's the reigning SEC Player of the Year defensively. And still, though, I mean, hey, we talk about defense, right? Those two guys guarding Duke on Tuesday. That's going to be fun to see what that looks like. So,
yeah. They're going to need Ortega in that game. They're going to need his physicality. Didn't have the best offensive game today, but they're gonna need his physicality against Duke. I mean, it's not far off to compare those two tandems.
All right, so here's what we do, guys. We're about 30 minutes in here. Again, we are going to hop off a little quicker than usual here because we are going to give away to football at 9:30. So they're gonna, if you want to talk football tonight, you can do that. Jump right out of this live stream, right into the other ones here on the channel. Chris and Chase, and I don't know if anyone else is on there tonight, but you can check that out. They'll be talking football. And I know some of you guys are like, hey, we don't want to talk football. Kentucky fans, I hear you. I know some of you said it earlier, like, we're not here to talk football. Trust me, I get it. But kind of resetting here. If you're joining for the first time, hit the subscribe button. We do these reaction videos, live streams, everything. We do all of that here, and we will be covering basketball wall-to-wall, prediction videos for the big games. Sometimes we'll get those right. A lot of times we won't. But
a lot of times we won't.
But that's okay. So, again, leave a super chat. If you want to make sure we get to your comment, question, whatever, throw a super chat at us. You can leave us 50 cents if you want. And then we'll give you our favorite 50-cent songs of all time. If you want to leave us a 50-cent super chat, we might even wrap them for you if you want us to do it. But you can leave any amount of money. That just donates to the channel so we can do more of these live streams for you guys. So, again, we appreciate all your support here of the channel. But let's get into what you want to talk about. And by the way, I saw Donovan's question earlier. I don't know if I may have missed it. Here we go. Does Houston make every offense looking confident like this? Yes. Yes, they do. That was our fear here, which I was the only one that went out on a limb and took Auburn. But we'll see how that works out. But all right, Max, anything that catches your eye in the comments, go for it. I know we got a ton, but pull up anything you want.
Did have one here. Right here. We got an Arkansas fan who was not impressed with the offense against Baylor. Would have been a better idea to drive instead of shooting 3 after 3 on top of the zone. You should look at Blake and I's text messages. Big Z is a bad problem. Vanover made over. Oh boy. I don't know about that. But
I won't disagree with the offense. I mean, I'm not gonna. We said that earlier. I mean, I don't disagree with that at all. I think the offense is a problem in terms of what do you do when teams defensively play like that, when they come out in zone. And I think too, like, commentary was talking about it. I think Jimmy Dykes was talking about it, and the play-by-play guy. But it's like, well, Arkansas wasn't expecting zone. If I'm Arkansas and I play another game this year, and I'm not expecting zone, something's wrong, because I think you should expect zone every single time for the rest of the season. So I'm not saying everybody will play zone, but that's what I'd be expecting given the way that they've handled it in this game. But yeah, the offense has to get better. There's no question. We did say earlier, I think some of that may be injury based with Davis and Adu. And remember, Adu's going to help him out offensively too. I think we got to keep that in mind. He's not
That
just a
little
defensive
mid-range.
guy. Yeah, he's going to get a little mid range. He's going to get some offensive putbacks, those kind of things. I think he's better than Big Z at that because, I just think he is right now. And so that will, I think, help Arkansas get better. It's game 2, 30-something game season. I said I think they're a work in progress. This game clearly proved that they're a work in progress, especially on the offensive side and defensive side too. But I think the defensive stuff can be fixed because a lot of that is simply rotations and that kind of stuff. I mean, will this team eventually get there? Will it be a top 10 defensive team? I don't think so. But you can fix some of that. Offensively, you can fix some of the stuff too, but can you fix the outside shooting? I don't know. So
Yeah, you got 4 games. Like I said earlier, you got 4 games to get a little bit of confidence going, and then you got a top 20 Ken Pom team in Illinois on a neutral floor. And
Ooh.
That's going to tell a lot. That's going to tell a lot because they're not too bad this year at all.
Yeah. What else we got, Max?
We've got a few. What do you think about this take, Blake? Is this hot or is this just what we've seen so far?
Well, I mean, I'm still going to pick Janai Broom, but I think Amari Williams is a big. There's no question, right? I mean, I feel like you said from like 5 minutes in, Max, of game 1. I think you texted us and you were all in on Amari Williams. So there's no doubt. Like he is. If Kentucky has the season we think they're going to have, and now that's trending in an upward direction right now, they go out and beat Duke or something on Tuesday. We're probably going to be talking about Amari Williams. They go out and beat Duke on Tuesday because he's going to have to be a big reason why. So no, he's looked fantastic so far.
Yeah, he's got a matchup against Maluwash, Duke freshman. Yeah, it was the play was he started the break. And then there's a defender at the top of the key waiting for him, because that's usually when they all, big guys trip over each other. Slows down. Boop. Quick little pass. Easy layup. Oh, text you guys right away.
Oh, smooth. Yeah, Amari Williams. He's a stud, like clearly early on. So, all right, what else, Max?
Got another one. I don't think this is SEC, but name your top 5 teams you've seen so far this year.
Gonzaga. That's definitely one of them.
Yep.
How about the winner of Houston and Auburn? I'll take whoever wins that game. Is that a cop-out? I'll take the winner of that game, Max.
Cheney Johnson just up and under JoJo Tugler for whoever asked the X Factor question earlier. There's a possession win for Cheney. I'll go Zags
too.
Yeah.
I mean,
I watched Duke run circles around Army yesterday.
Yeah.
Zags, Duke.
Kansas looks pretty good.
They do.
I mean,
I'll be honest. Most of the games I've watched have been SEC.
I was gonna say, I haven't
watched
SEC
many
games.
non-SEC games.
Yeah. So.
Oh, he said
take
SEC.
Your pick.
Oh, he said SEC.
Oh.
Top 5 teams in the SEC that we've seen so far after a game or two?
Sure. Well, we wouldn't give away. All right, we can give you our top 5, but I'm not going to do it in order because we don't give away our power rankings, which, listen, if Auburn beats Houston, I wouldn't be shocked if Auburn's our number 1 team in the power rankings on Monday, but it's a staff composite vote. Keep that in mind. So, I mean, top 5 to this point, I mean, Alabama, Auburn, Tennessee, Kentucky.
And then 5.
Mississippi State?
No! That's what Carlos is looking for.
That's
what he's looking for.
Should have known he was setting us up for that one.
He was setting us up. He already did the math in his head.
Well, maybe.
There,
there it comes.
There it is.
My. I should have known. Yeah.
Love it when a plan comes together.
Yeah. Here's a good question. First name, last name, which by the way, it's the greatest name ever. Ask Chris this in the football live stream in about 15 minutes. Ask Chris if he thinks the SEC is going to get 4 teams in the football playoff and in the Elite Eight. Because I think there are definitely 4 teams going to make the Elite Eight in basketball, but I'll withhold my thoughts on that until we get the bracket in March. So
you think we're gonna get half the Elite Eight?
Oh yeah, Max. I'm all in this year. We know that.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm ready to be disappointed. So I'm all in this year. So all right. What else we got? We're gonna hop off, guys, in about we'll say about 7-8 minutes. We'll give those guys a few minutes and all that. But let's see.
What do we got here?
Oh, let's go. Big Baller Brett had this earlier. Predictions for Nate Oates versus Will Wade on Monday.
Oh, the fighting Will Wades.
Well, I mean, they bounced back after that opening loss to South Dakota State. Again, they did beat Biblical Studies on Thursday. So, I mean, I think it should be a pretty good game. I mean, I think McNeese will come in there with a game plan. I think that they'll, look at this Alabama team who came off of, I don't want to say disappointing against Arkansas State, because we said, I don't know why people aren't giving Arkansas State enough credit. That's a good team. But, I mean, what, Big Baller Brett? I mean, Alabama, in my opinion, Alabama's not going to play another, I don't even call it easy. They'll play another easy game till like a month or more from now. Like, this is just the gauntlet has begun, and it started with Arkansas State. And so, I mean, it's going to be something. So, but I think they get the win.
Yeah, I don't even want to call the win over Biblical Studies a bounce back.
I do.
Oh, come on.
Listen, I haven't studied Biblical Studies roster. I haven't studied Biblical Studies roster, but I still call it a bounce back, all right? Anytime you lose the opener and you bounce back with a 54-point win, I believe it was, I'm calling that a bounce back.
Okay.
All right? Yeah.
Yeah, we got did you see Kirk Crease's comment about Duke in the press conference?
I did not. No.
I don't know the exact quote, but I know he kind of threw a little bit of shade at Cooper Flagg about
Let me find it.
Already being the number 1 pick or something like that, or just being overhyped or something like that. I know he threw a little jab, doing what Kerr does. Not surprising.
Here we go. Should we play this? Hold on.
Yeah, I can try to pull it up.
Yeah, here, I'm going to send you the link in the chat. Here we go. All right. Let me send it to you in the chat. We'll play it here for people who want to see it or hear it as well. Yeah, by the way, you should be watching this Houston-Auburn game right now. Like, this is just it's just a rock fight. Like, and that's exactly what you expect from this kind of game this early on. Like, Houston control, that's a great word, Donovan. That's exactly what Kelvin Sampson does. His team's just, this is what they do. So, here we go. All right,
let's see if I can get some audio on this.
No, not working. Can
you hear it?
Really hear it? I can't hear it.
Oh, you can't hear it? I could hear it.
No.
Sorry about that.
I don't know what's going on. But
well, let's see. He says, obviously the whole world is talking about Cooper Flagg, so we're excited to play against the number 1 draft pick. Congrats to him already. Oh, man.
Oh, yeah.
Throwing a little jab. Throwing a little jab.
This is what we need. We need more of this. All right?
Yes.
This is what we ask for. Okay? Don't hold back. All right? Don't hold back. So.
I like it.
Trash talk. What's wrong with trash talk? When did we outlaw trash talk?
Come on. Yeah.
Come on. This is what you want. It's Kentucky and Duke, folks. This is exactly what you want. All right? So, all right.
Kirk Crease is the player you love to have on your team barking for you. Hate to play against him. Gets under your skin.
Yeah. Tremendous.
Yep.
All right, guys. 5-minute warning here on the Southeastern 16 basketball stream. And if you want, you can just flood those guys with basketball questions on the football stream too, if you want. But don't do that. But anything else you want us to get to, throw it in the chat. we've covered. If you're just joining in, you're a little late, but we've talked about all the games. Arkansas losing to Baylor, Tennessee dominating at Louisville, Kentucky dominating Bucknell. We mentioned we will talk about Auburn and Houston. Max, we'll give you our word that we'll do a video tomorrow morning if Auburn wins. If they don't win, we'll talk about it on Monday. How about that? So we will do that. So as always, we got a lot of stuff on the channel. We'll be doing Kentucky fans. We will be doing a Kentucky versus Duke preview, just like we did for the big games this weekend. So that'll be one of probably quite a few games we're going to be previewing next week, Max, as I look at the schedule. It's a big week, so we got some big games. We'll be doing those individual previews and separate videos, so make sure you're subscribed. Hit the like button, too. There's 700 plus of you on a football Saturday in here right now. A record, I think, for us during football season, without question. Do me a favor right now. Hit that like button for us. That helps us out here on the channel. If you enjoy the SEC basketball coverage we give you, do us a favor. Just hit that like button. That's all you got to do. Thumbs up. So how about this? If you don't like it, also hit the thumbs up. Kind of like that reverse psychology, you know? Just think of it that way. So, all right, Max, as we finish up here in a couple minutes, what else did we not get to today?
Who is the best player you have seen so far through a game or two? I have my answer.
Mother Carol asking this question. What's your answer?
Trey Johnson, Texas.
Interesting.
I rewatched the highlights from their last game. He's just ridiculous.
I think you're right. That's probably what I would go with, but I also...
If not him,
who?
Right. If not him, I would maybe say Miles Kelly.
Interesting. Well, Houston may have something to say about that tonight, but we'll find out.
This is so far.
I'm
it's basically who had the best game. It's like who had the best game.
It really is. Who's put up the biggest numbers like that? It's hard because some of these people are just, again, they're doing it against teams that you would expect them to do it against. So it's a hard question to answer.
Kobe Bryant.
You could pick a Kentucky player for sure, given what they've done to this point. So, Mother Carol, $2 super chat. Please don't pick Kentucky to beat Duke. We all know what the job is, okay, Mother Carol? We go into this preview knowing what's at stake.
Yep.
I think we're all on the same page, but I tell you this, don't count out Chris Lee completely just sending the plan in the wrong direction. Max and I know what we have to do, but we know how high Chris is on Kentucky, and I don't know that we can convince him not to pick him, but we'll do what we can on that. So,
Blake, stop the count. The Tigers are in the lead. Stop the count. They made it by cargo barge. They made it to Houston.
Go barge.
I don't even know if that's a thing, a cargo barge. It's the first thought that came to my head. But hey,
listen,
for everyone that thought Auburn was dead to rights, game was already over, no chance, spreads out to 5. Look at them battling.
Oh, boy. None of us would bet against Auburn in that spread. So,
Chaney Johnson, just get that thing out of here.
Well. All right, guys. We have to give way to the football staff. It's football time at Southeastern 16. And so, again, usually we would go a little bit longer with these, but we did touch on every game. We gave you kind of some more compact thoughts than usual maybe on some of these games. But as always, we will have more thoughts coming up this week, and we will have our power rankings for basketball, our first in-season power rankings coming up on Monday, and we will also, as we mentioned, preview the big games coming up. And if Auburn beats Houston, we will have a video tomorrow morning talking about Auburn and Houston as well. I know, boo football. I agree, Justin. Boo football, but don't boo football with Chris Lee and Chase Robinson. They're coming up next here on the channel. Go talk to these guys. Jump in there. Donovan, why don't you – that's a great idea, Donovan. Go jump in the football chat and just be given play-by-play on the Auburn-Houston basketball game. I'm sure Chris will love that. Okay? Go do that.
You'll get one score every 2 minutes.
Yeah. When it goes 30-27 final in the Auburn-Houston basketball game, be there to discuss. But All right, guys. We appreciate you hopping on. Fun Saturday night stream here. Big games coming up this week. We'll talk all about them at Southeastern 16. We appreciate you watching as always. Hit that subscribe button on the way out. Hit the like button as well. And again, we'll talk to you again here soon at Southeastern 16. Go watch football. SEC football reaction. Coming up next here on Southeastern 16.